Alright, welcome back to the DuckHill workshop. My name is Ben, and this is part 3 of building the live edge desk for my mom. Right now what needs to happen is rails, stiles, and legs all need to get cut down to final thickness, and then we will be able to cut to final length, and then we can start laying out the joinery. So that's going to be today's installment. Let's get started. Alright, so here we're ripping pieces down to final size, and we're doing a little bit of a cheat because I don't have a joiner. So if you flip these end for end and edge for edge and run them through the table saw at the same thickness, you kind of approximate a joiner. However, it did happen, a highlight that my pieces weren't perfectly square, and I am dealing with those in as I'm cutting the joinery now. And holy crow, do I need to get my dust collection set up. Woof. However, I could have spent some time with my number 7 joiner plane and gotten these cleaned up. It's what I should have done. I'm just not used to having that tool. So some of you may notice that I've got my splitter installed on my saw now that I didn't have earlier. It makes a world of difference, and the only reason I didn't have it on before was that you had to drill out the zero clearance throat plate for my saw, and I hadn't done that. But definitely a recommend. Okay, now all of the rails, stiles, and legs for the side panels are cut to final size. So now it's time to lay out joinery. So this has been a pretty quick process. However, looking at it, I think I need to revisit some of my joinery dimensions. I'm going to double check those really quick, and then we'll start cutting the dovetail, or not dovetails. Then we'll start cutting the mortise and tenons. So, cool. Keep working. Alright, so while I was double checking my plan, my SketchUp file, to verify some measurements, I realized that it's wrong. Or I put a lot of work into it the other night to tweak some things, and clearly I did not save the file. So the files that I have are my old plan and not accurate. So right now it's just going to take it. It's not a lot of work, but I don't want to do it in the drawing right now. So I'm going to wing it through these and make it work. But so anyways, back to it, I guess. Alright, so all of the joinery is laid out. None of it's cut. I always have to take a minute. I lay it all out, I draw it out, I mark all of the waste that's getting cut out, and then I go through it a second time just to make sure that I haven't missed anything, that all of my joints are in the right place, and then I decide what I'm going to start on first. And in this case, what I'm going to start on first is removing the waste for the dado that runs through all of these pieces. Now I was thinking about how I was going to do that. I really want to do the majority of this with hand tools or without big power tools, and the solution really seemed, I was struggling until I remembered that my dad got me these really weird sized brad point bits. So I got 3 for Christmas. 15 32nds, 31 64ths, and 23 64ths. So they're all about 15 32nds and 31 64ths are almost a ½ an inch, and all of my mortises, or all of my dados, are a ½ an inch wide. 23 64ths is a little bit, you know, it's like more like, so we're going to go with the 15 32nds, and load that up in the drill press and see where we go from there. So, cross our fingers, we're going to start doing this. So I really only intended to experiment and make sure that this would work. I didn't mean to start in trying to drill every single one of these holes with a hand drill. It works if that's all you've got, by all means. But this is going to take me all night if I do this. So I'm going to load this up in my dad's drill press, set the depth stop, and just go nuts. Let's jump across and see that in action. He's going to be at that for a long time. I'm going to enjoy a beer. And we're back. So now I got all of the waste drilled out on all of the parts. Now I have to chop all that out with chisels. I'm going to tackle that. I've got the Moxon vise set up. I'm going to see how that does. And we'll go from there. Cool. Can't forget my third cup of coffee today. Let's get chopping.
This process is oddly satisfying, the repetitive nature of it, and just being able to sit down and focus on a thing and go to town. It is time consuming, I won't lie, and it definitely gives you an appreciation for the power tools you have to do the same job, as my family repeatedly pointed out. Don't you have a router to do this? Couldn't you do this on the table saw? Yeah, I absolutely could have, but I've never done this completely by hand, and I really, really wanted to. So, here we go. Alright, these are my first attempts cutting to a line with a handsaw. I definitely need more practice, but it wasn't that hard, and once you realize that the less pressure and the less sawing you attempt to do, the easier the saw cuts. So, I look forward to doing this more in the future.
Alright, so I just got done testing out a piece. I've cut my little tenon, and I've cut the middle of my bridle joint. I've cut this tenon as well. Obviously I've left it a little bit long. This one is going to take a little tweaking. My blade was a little bit high, so it fits, but it's not snug. And then the center bridle joint I left thick, but it fits width-wise, so that's good. So it's kind of a hybrid setup, so I'm going to cut the outline of my joint with my crosscut handsaw, and then I'm going to clean out the waste on the table saw. So let's do that. Okay. Doesn't look too bad, except you can tell that I'm new at this. So I'll probably be showing you how to fix that later. We're going to finish fitting the second set of bridle joints, and then we're going to work on cutting the mortise and tenon in the legs. So, cool. Alright, so this video is a little bit short. Because we've ended up doing some other projects crop up around the farm that we've had to wrap up. We're working on fencing on the north side of our pasture and logging some of the wood that's on our neighbor's property that they've offered us to clear out. Hopefully before anyone else comes out and sneaks it for firewood, because there are several long oak trees that will eventually become beams for a timber frame that we're going to build later this summer. So we've been working on getting those caught up. Hopefully when we pick up next week I will have finished the mortise and tenons for the sides, and we'll really just be assembling the case. So stay tuned. I hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you next week. Until next time. Hey guys, so we are still working on getting to our goal of 100 subscribers so that we can get a custom URL for our channel. But we are at 70, last I checked we were at 71. So it means I only need 29 more subscribers. Everyone that's joined so far to follow along on this journey is awesome. I really appreciate that you're along for the ride, and I just look forward to those next 29 folks to come on board. Once we hit 100, I promise I'll shut up for a while, and maybe we'll do a giveaway when our new hats and shirts come in, if we hit 100. So stay tuned for that.